Hey, I'm Louis Self. I'm the producer of this show. I want to thank you folks for coming. And if you're not used to live stand-up comedy, you want to make sure you turn your cell phone off. It's embarrassing if it goes off. Double embarrassing when the comedian knows it. And I have to check my one show, my phone actually went off, and I was so embarrassed, so I got it shut off completely now. Nothing will happen. Sometimes I randomly telephone somebody in the audience, and if their phone goes off, I've got them. But I probably won't do that tonight. Yep. Also, you want to keep a table talk to a minimum, because if you visit with somebody else, you miss the joke, and then they miss that joke, and someone has to explain both jokes to you. Pretty soon, nobody knows what's going on, especially the comedian. So you don't want to do that. This tour started out a 10-state tour. Then after COVID-19 got a hold of it, it's now, and our comedian is proud of all 4 states now. And that's the tour. And this is his 1094th appearance. Nobody said he was funny, but he sure has been busy. Been doing comedy 7 years. He's a retired science teacher. And the humor, his style of humor is what he calls, it's his own invention, PG-16. It doesn't involve foul language, but it does involve some adult concepts. So after the show, you may have to explain some of those to Lisa. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to America's favorite old man, Arizona Lou. Oh, come on. This is Wasilla. Let's hear some noise. Yay! Hi, I'm Arizona Lou. I want to thank you for letting an old guy up here. You ask, how old? How old? I know you're putting on your jacket, man, but do you want to know how old?
Yes.
Oh, I'm 78.
Wow. Nice.
Can anybody beat that? Well, respect your elders then. And I'm so old, I do silly stuff. Like doing a tour of Alaska during COVID-19 and trying to still stay alive for the next hour. And I worry a lot about what's going to fall off or come off next. And my last name isn't even Jenner.
I like it.
I keep looking in the mirror for body parts that are not saggy or wrinkled. You know, wrinkles, I'm proud of all my splotches and wrinkles. They indicate wisdom and experience. Well, except the commercials, they say, spend more money. Pretend they don't exist. I am so wrinkled. The other day, I had difficulty adjusting my stripy tighties. I'm also fashionable. Until I realized I wasn't wearing any. One time I did get some with bad elastic, and you may have had this experience too. As I went during my day, they slowly worked their way down because the elastic was gone, lower and lower and lower. And pretty soon there was absolutely no support. They keep working their way down more. And I was walking around Walmart or someplace and couldn't stop and take care of things. And finally, they were hanging around my legs, supported only by the crotch. So I understand what happens when you ladies, one of your pads gets loose. See, I've included the guys, I've included the ladies. Well, let's keep going. Let's see what branch, get acquainted here. Let's see what branch you served in. Let's hear it by applause if you served in the Navy. Well, that's funny, huh? All right. Navy's an acronym. You know what Navy stands for? Never again volunteer yourself. Let's hear it if you served in the Air Force by applause. Now, you guys were late coming to the game. Well, you had to wait for them to invent airplanes first. Let's hear it if you served in the Army. Yeah! I knew it. You know what? Army's an acronym too. You know what Army stands for? Aren't really Marines yet.
Except we were first. You gotta be a...
Oh, yeah. All right, you Marines. Let's hear it if you served in the Marines. Well, then we can talk about them. Marine is an acronym for muscles are required, intellect not essential. Or if you know a Marine from somewhere, just say intellect never encountered. Well, I want to thank you for your service. I didn't have the privilege. Uncle Sam pointed to me and says, I don't want you because I had asthma. But I do appreciate what you and what your families have done, the sacrifices you made for our country. I really do appreciate. That's why I do this stuff, and I enjoy it. So thank you very much. Give yourselves a hand. And if I'm lucky, I'll remember what I want to say tonight. If you're lucky, I'll wander off somewhere. Silver alert, silver alert. Do you guys have silver alerts up here? When someone loses a senior citizen? Well, down in the lower 40, I think there's only one here in Alaska, but they have these electronic signs that they can flash different messages up on. I just love those things because you can get distracted without even using your cell phone. And they have how many minutes to an intersection that you don't care about or know about, and they flash that up, and then real quickly they flash something important and then flash the miles thing again. You never can. And why don't they shut the stupid things off until there's something important to say or something to be cautious about? No. So because they have all these distractions, they have to have two frames. One frame says caution, caution, caution. And by the time you get past that, you don't know what you should be cautious about. They had one in Montana that said, construction zone, 26 miles, slow down. So I did. I didn't get there until Wednesday. In Pennsylvania, they had one that said, motorcycles, orange, you glad you look? Well, I did at the sign and have no idea how many I took out in the meantime. You can tell I really like those things. They just should shut them off, but they don't. And I just hope I don't wander off to Chicago. Did you see the latest news?
No.
Shootings are up 88% over last year. But murders are up too, but only 72%. Oh, shootings are up 88%, murders up 72%. I mean, big difference, huh? Obviously, we need to give Chicago more gun classes. Improve their aim. That was for you Army people. Well, I need some water. I flew to Miami to do some comedy. On Halloween, I was going to ride a broom. This isn't what you think it is. What I took was only marginally better, United Airlines Basic Economy. Let's hear it by applause if you've ever flown Basic Economy. Good. Well, let me explain for you rich people. Basic Economy, you're last to get on the airplane after the standbys and the homeless. And then when you get on, all the overhead bin space is gone with the wind. I need to explain to you millennials, that's an old movie. And then they put me in a little narrow middle seat, which is okay because I have a little narrow middle butt. When I got settled in, I noticed coming down the aisle a BBW. Now you know about that. What does it stand for?
Big, broad woman.
That's a possibility. What else does it stand for? I like this.
Big black woman.
That's a possibility. Most people won't even say that.
From the south.
I've had people say, oh. What else could it stand for?
Big butt woman.
Yes. We're on a roll. What else?
Big breasted woman.
Yes, big breasted. Oh, wow, you guys are good. There's another one. Big, beautiful woman. It doesn't matter which you take, they're all similar.
And it starts big.
And, yeah, it starts with big. But she had her eye on the seat, empty seat next to me. And I tried to be inconspicuous as I put the armrest down in self-defense maneuver. She was the first person I saw who could have a close encounter of the third kind with seats on both sides of the aisle at the same time. And when she sat down in the seat beside me, it changed the center of gravity. And all it took was 7 seatbelt extensions. She was wedged in so tight she wouldn't have needed any of them. She wasn't going anywhere except to Miami. Well, she was a nice lady. Over the armrest was her muffin top. Under the armrest was her muffin bottom. And I did find out when I had a nice conversation with her that I couldn't breathe normally. I had to wait till she exhaled before I could inhale. And I make up for my waning physical prowess with my superior senior stupidity. Senior and stupid. Doesn't that remind you of Washington, D.C.? Well, in my case, I picked my electric toothbrush up from where I dropped it and brushed my teeth. Well, hey, I was just standing there. I hadn't done anything yet. It's waterproof. I rinsed it off, and every week I cleaned the toilet. With the best stuff you can get, which really does nothing except to make the toilet smell blue. Colonoscopy. Now, in comedy, we call that a segue. I did have, if you're over, who's here over 45? All right, over 45. Let's hear it if you've had a colonoscopy. Well, you better hop to it because they save lives. And you young people, put it on your electronic calendar so when you're 45, you'll come up and get a colonoscopy. I got my last one a couple months ago without anesthesia. And the next one I'm going to get without anesthesia too, because it was kind of cool. I did just the normal prep, but I went the extra mile. I don't know if the doctor noticed, but the day before I exercised with a butt plug. And before he went in, he says, Lou, I'm going to use some numbing gel. I couldn't stop him in time. He said, why not use regular gel? Be a lot more fun. And his little remote control probe was, well, think about a little train going through a little tiny tunnel with a big light and an air compressor so it could pump up around the tight corners, and a video camera, and pincers to think he found one little tiny polyp. It'll never cause cancer. And a garden hose to kind of wash things off. And clean it all up, a shop vac. After he was through, he said, Lou, I pumped it full of gas so you can pass it now. I was surprised. I couldn't. And I'm usually in that area have so much talent. Well, they put me in a wheelchair, of course, and rolled me down to the bottom of the parking garage. I jumped out, ran up to my van, stopped by the gym, the grocery store on the way home, just had a normal day. And it was interesting because I had never seen my butt on a big screen TV before. In high def. 4K. And it was interesting to watch the whole thing. So I recommend doing that way. And he said, if you start to get cramps, let me know. I'll slow down a little bit. And I did, and he did. And anyway, it's okay. Let's hear it by applause if you're a middle child. I had kind of a tough childhood because I'm a middle child. My older brother Stanley lived in Hutchinson, Kansas. And that's where we lost him. Never did find him. I guess he forgot to click his heels together. I mean, there's no place like home. I need to explain to you, Melania, that's an old movie with a scarecrow and a little dog. Stanley was into supplements. And now he has the healthiest prostate of anybody in the Greenwood Cemetery. You guys sure like this death thing, don't you? He was into real estate. If you count one duplex that was still standing only because the right half was leaning against the left half. Any landlords here? Yeah, okay, well, Stanley let Billy move in rent-free in exchange for fixing up the place. You know how that went. Billy moved in a carload of cockroaches. That's not funny. It's not true either. It was worse. He moved in Dawn, his girlfriend. Well, at least I think that's what was under all those tattoos. They were so wrinkled it was hard to tell. No wonder. She was a chain smoker. Does anybody here smoke any chains? But she had a winning smile. If you count 3 teeth. But they made an excellent cigarette holder. She could puff her way right through a Kansas tornado. I need to explain to you, Melania, that's the same movie with a little dog, the scarecrow, and a tornado now. Well, Dawn's pride and joy was not the giant flat panel TV she had blaring all the time. It was the long extension cord she used it to plug in at the neighbors. She was fancy though. She had a curved shower rod fastened to the outside of the house because nothing worked inside. So her daughter, yes, she moved her in too. so her daughter could use the garden hose. I learned a lot about white trash. I have a lot of room to talk. Because I spent a year starting my old minivan with wires hanging out from under the hood. When I was a kid, Mother used to say, "Louis, hold your horses." Then, of course, in the 70s, it was cool your jets. And what do you say nowadays?
Fuck off.
You heard it. Chill out, take a chill pill, slow your roll, got lots of them. Or don't have a rack attack.
That's not a thing.
Now, I need to explain to some of you who don't understand, that means calm your tits. Or if you go to Hawaii, it's Hakuna your tatas. And somewhere between the horses and the jets, it was hold the phone. Now that's singular intentionally because in those days there was only one. And it was fastened to the house with a wire. Now today it means, here, watch my video. Don't hold it like that. You might send it into Telephone Neverland. Oh, don't hold it by the edge. You might put it in the mode to explode. So you have to cradle it on the palm of your hand. How many have done that, dropped it, and broken the screen? Anybody? I do it, watching too much porn. Oh, in your case, ma'am, Sesame Street.
Oh.
But there's other things you hold. Any grandparents here? All right. This is the way I held my first grandchild. All it took was 10 seconds for me to understand crazy grandparents. But there's other ways to hold grandkids. This one leaks. Or, here, Mommy, stinky baby. Or when they get older, you can hold them like this. I hate ceiling fans. Last week I lost 2.
I hope you had ceiling fans.
They went into orbit. Well, at my age, there's some things I just don't understand. But I'll get back to that in just a little bit. I've got t-shirts. I've got your size. The t-shirts, regular sizes, are $10 each, cash or card. And you get one, depending on how my comedy career goes. After 5 years, you might have something good for $12. Or something good for stinky baby. Oh, and I've got other stuff. I've got these thumb drives. These are flash drives with either the $10 version is 1.3 hours of comedy and videos and stuff. The $20 version is 2.8 hours. And it's neat because it includes my 1,000th appearance, which was a roast. And the most fun part of the roast was the last 20 minutes when I got even with all the other comedians. And if you want, I'll get a commemorative poster, got the t-shirts. This is the charity that gets all the profit from these things. I don't know who would want a picture. I've got 2 sizes. Make good target practice. The little ones aren't so good for target practice, but they're good for confetti. Here's the price. I've got stickers, and I'll sign anything for $5. All profits is a $5 donation for the charity. I'll sign anything. Well, except not down there. So stop by and say hi and visit a little bit. And if you're interested in something, fine. If you're not, that's okay too. But that's sort of that department. And at my age, there's some things I just don't understand. I was in a restaurant before COVID-19 with some comedians.
What city were you in?
And Bill, in Tempe, Arizona. It's a suburb of Phoenix. Yep. See, you didn't think I'd know, did you? Anyway, Bill belted out, "Avery, get your hands off my jewel." Now, the only kind that I knew about was the family type. I didn't know you could spell it J-U-U-L. What in the world was Avery doing with his hands? And poor Bill, with only one jewel? And why did he have it up on the table? And I don't understand why they make the backs of television sets all black. It's dark as midnight back there. When it comes time to hook up your equipment, it's like plugging your hard pin into a black hole. And when you get the wrong hole, you say, "I meant to do it that way." Of course, people from Los Angeles aim for the wrong hole because they like it that way. I have or used to have a Sony computer, and I don't understand why they put such crappy keyboards on them. It would randomly leave out or duplicate letters. And I went to the Dominican Republic. It left out the L, and I called it the Dominican Republic. Yeah, there went my reputation. Like I had one after that Sticky Baby thing. I sent my daughter an email. I just got booked for 3 minutes at Harris Showroom. It left out the K and actually written, "I just got booed for 3 minutes." And I have a Kindle and don't understand why Amazon calls the book I got for my Kindle the hardcover edition. How can that be when there's no cover? And how can it be hard when the book is software? Nothing about this body gets hard. You guys know what you have forward to look to. I can't talk. What you have to look forward to. Well, I take it back one thing in the mornings, getting out of bed. Well, I don't understand why they've been making bread for 30,000 years and they haven't figured out how to make it without having holes in the middle of the, bubbles in the middle of the loaf. So your slices of bread, when you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, become a peanut butter and jelly messwich. I went to Maui kiteboarding, and you wonder what that is. That's an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Say that louder.
It's the wrong island.
No, I got the right island, I got the wrong ocean.
You're talking about the Atlantic, it's the wrong island.
Last night, it just went right over their head. They didn't even notice. Yep, I got the wrong ocean. Anyway, kiteboarding is where you're flying a huge kite while it's pulling you on a wakeboard or surfboard. All we want is wind. Kiteboarders say, "Oh, the wind's getting worse." I mean, fishermen say, "Oh, the wind's getting worse." Kiteboarders say, "You mean better?" And When we went there, I saw an 85-year-old guy getting a kiteboard lesson. I took care of him. Now I'm the oldest surviving kiteboarder. Unfortunately, we didn't have the expected usual wind there, so I did a lot of SUP. That's SUP, stand-up paddleboarding, as opposed to what I do up here, suck. Come on, SUC, stand-up comedy. It was a challenge getting the big board across the beach into the water. It actually went pretty well until I got stuck in the sand with my little electric rascal scooter. So I decided to hold the board sideways, and that went pretty well until I took out 2 kids, bink, bink, and the mother breastfeeding the baby, bink, bing, who was offending an old man until I took him out. Solved that social problem. Then I decided to hold the board under my arm and use, well, they call it a handle, but it would be a stretch. It's so small and shallow, it'd be a stretch to even call it a finger. But then I'd have the other hand to hold my paddle and scratch. When I finally got the board down into the water, my challenge was to go from my knees to standing up. It looked something like this. I should have had a walker. But I did get a wave from a lifeguard. Hey, get out of here. This beach is closed to old men with great big boards, little tiny Speedos. I really did get a wave. There in the Kailua Harbor, I rode that little wave 561 feet. My nurse never caught me. The last Saturday there, it was windy, so I was using my custom fish without foot straps over the boneyard kiteboarding. Now, the boneyard is a sketchy area. It's like Mother Nature said, hey, let's put some big, rough, rocky coral reef there just for him. And without foot straps, which would have held me on the board, I blew a jibe, got drug off the board, and fed the fish with little bits of skin from my right knee, left foot, another body part I don't talk about much, my left thigh. The fish said, thank you for the food. Going home, flying home on Hawaiian Airlines, since it was a 6.5-hour flight, I got very well acquainted with the airline bathrooms. It's like Boeing engineers said, hey, let's measure people and we'll make our bathrooms 3 inches smaller. And then they made the walls curved, so you have to stand like this to be in position. Well, half of you don't. And then when you're finished doing your thing, you notice the water faucets have no delay. So getting your hands under, well, you're still getting water running. Well, it's sort of like you're not going to get there in time. Sort of like last time you had diarrhea. And then the paper towel opening is smaller than the paper towels, so you're guaranteed to get confetti. And then the waste door spring is so strong, you get that confetti back in your face. And then when it comes time to leave your private throne room, you notice the door opens in which means you have less space than you started with. You're really out of space if you're a young guy with a boner. Gives a whole new meaning to the expression hitting the wall. And I'm sure glad you people came tonight. and see, we got the commander to laugh. And then they rub it in with a note that says pull, which means you have to touch the place that everybody else has touched after they've touched their stuff. For me, it looks something like this. Ladies, you know what I just did? I just raised the toilet seat, and you hardly even noticed. And I wouldn't have had to, because I'm in this bathroom by myself. Nobody would have known the difference. Besides, it's an imaginary bathroom. I'm going to do it again, and I want to hear some cheers or encouragement. All right?
Ready.
Woo! Yeah.
What? Put it down. I thought in this situation you ladies always hovered.
No, because there might be turbulence.
Well then, of course, you have to take care of your business. You can't rush into paint. I'm old. You'll have to change this visual if you're a lady. Or if you're a diddle. You know what a diddle is? Don't ask, don't tell. Have you ever noticed the flesh is so violent the toilet paper blows in the wind? No, not that kind of wind. You're disgusting. That was the person before me. Well, my next trip was the opposite direction, to the Outer Banks. It was a driving trip. Let's hear it by applause if you've heard of the Outer Banks. Well, the rest of you, let's hear it by applause if you've heard of Hatteras Island. Kitty Hawk. The Wright brothers. Airplanes. All located off the coast of North Carolina with some of the best kiteboarding conditions in the world. And when there wasn't enough wind to kiteboard with my friend Tim, we'd go doing sup. Well, I was just barely able to stand up and balance on my board. He was on his board doing yoga. For the flexibility, show off. Is anybody here taking yoga? Let's hear it by applause. Anybody taking yoga? And your name is?
Marie.
Marie? Marie, namaste. Did you say you took yoga?
Say it back.
I said namaste. I laughed when I said namaste.
Well, let me explain for the rest of you people. That's yoga speak for howdy, partner. I know about this yoga stuff because I took my first class on the Outer Banks for the view of the ocean. Turns out the class was inside with the lights out. But Heather, our instructor, said, just relax. Or she had us holding the 2x4. Now, you yoga types call that the plank position. That's like me telling you to relax with one foot at the dock and the other foot at the boat. I go down farther, but I'd hurt myself. Or drag them on the floor. What are you laughing about? And I don't have one of those red buttons that say, hell, I can't get up.
Life alert.
Have you ever noticed the people that can't get up? They're usually older ladies. They just came from the beauty parlor. Also, they're wearing their finest jewelry and their best dress. Put on their makeup just right. That's not the usual anyway. So, oh, the hardest for me was the doggy style.
Downward dog.
Yes. I need to explain to the resident yoga type, that's downward facing dog. They call it that because they haven't yet invented the Gangnam style. That wasn't all I had to hold. I had a determined methane bubble that desperately wanted to reach the atmosphere. Now, you know what that is. That's a fart. Oh, unless you're from McGehee, then it's a toot. With some concerted effort, I was able to hold it. Not the doggy style. I wasn't the only one with a pesky methane bubble. Someone actually let one escape. It was one of those minimal displacement, extended duration, maximum amplitude expulsions. Now you call that a long, loud toot. I started to laugh until I realized I was the only one. And that's when I learned in yoga you gotta know when to hold them. At the end of the class, we were laying on our backs, and Heather came around with some smelly stuff to massage my head. Come on, this one. I just hope she didn't mess up my hair. That was a joke. Because this hair is a joke. What should be growing out here is growing out my ears. At least it keeps the bugs out. My ex says, well, it keeps the bugs in with all the craziness. I have what I call a National Geographic hairdo. It's 3 peninsulas, and the little peninsula is slowly becoming an island, like a little grass island. Now, does anybody here have a... Take off your hat. Let's see. Now, okay, this would be the Europa hairdo. You know what Europa is? It's the smoothest moon in the solar system. It's the moon of Jupiter. But that's, you're not quite there. You just keep working on it. Eventually you'll get there. And thank you for being a good sport. Let's see, I've got to get around picking on everybody by the time this is over. Well, after yoga, well, the next thing I did is I went to the Dominican Republic for kiteboarding and comedy. And there I just about lost these 3 fingers. You want to hear what happened? Let's hear it by applause if you want to hear what happened. All right. Well, sometimes people get tangled in kite lines, and that's dangerous because these kites are hugely powerful. That's not what happened. I should have stuck with kiteboarding. Instead, I did something stupid and dangerous. Morse up. I stepped off the board at an isolated beach, saw a little wave coming in, going to flip my board up on the beach. I didn't want to chase it, so I says, I can win this bout with Mother Nature. Grabbed a loop of rope at the back of the board and held on tight. The wave flipped the board over, wrapping the rope around my fingers, and then slammed it. I won. I still had the board, but not all my hand. I knew I was in trouble when I looked down and saw my index finger dangling by some skin. That was good news. I knew where my finger was. Think how embarrassing it could have been. Hey, has anybody seen a finger? He's got it. Catch that crab. Well, I put the finger back on the stump and proceeded to try to get some help. So I decided to use my extensive Spanish vocabulary. Emergencia! Young guy put my board on me safe so I could go out to the little road and hitchhike into town. But I couldn't even hitchhike right. I couldn't make a fist. First car just zipped right past me. Zoom. Well, when you stop for a barefoot guy wearing only a wet black hat and wet red blood and little wet black Speedos. Second car thought I was just being friendly. Buenas tardes. Third car was John Paul. He stopped. He knew the way to the emergency room. But remember, sir, remember what your mother used to always tell you about wearing clean underwear? No? Anybody remember? In case you have to go to the hospital, emergency room. Well, I couldn't see going to the hospital with my current state of abbreviated attire. So we stopped by my hotel room, and I found a shirt. The only shirt that was real handy was grubby. Mother would have not been proud. And I put my cargo shorts on over my wet swim trunks, which was stupid and embarrassing because I had one hand and John Paul had to zip me up. If I'd had more time, I would have put on a clean shirt, clean, dry underwear. Mother would have been proud. Until finding out that with one hand, John Paul would have to tuck me in just right. Never left. Well, the nurse in the emergency room didn't speak any English, and she handed me my hospital gown. And of course, I motioned her to go to the door. She just stood there. She just stood there. She didn't move. I think she wanted to make sure that I took off everything. And I think she wanted to be sure I had everything to see if a white guy looked the same as a brown guy. Well, after I was discharged the next day, I had a new comedy routine and had these 3 fingers splinted and bandaged. I could still move my thumb and my pinky. And back at the hotel, I could do stuff. I could make a good hat rack. I could change TV channels. I could do the wave. And I'm not Elizabeth. But unfortunately, since I'm right-handed, I couldn't engage in my favorite evening activity while I'm online with it on the internet. Sir, holding my pencil and taking notes. Let's hear it if anybody, do you people save boxes? You say, good for you. Well, you people that don't say boxes don't read your instructions. They always say, save this box. And I do. And back home in Phoenix, I've got a box for printer, scanner, office chair, mother-in-law. In fact, I'm getting so many boxes, my house is so full, I may have to move out into a box. Which is going to be difficult with a mother-in-law. Oh, that's not true. She's dead.
There's a nice place by the river right there.
Oh, yeah, that's good to know, good to know. And probably a box would fit just right. But I do have to tell you folks that I'm dying. Well, you are too. Hopefully after I do. So you better act like it. That's something that Stanley, my older brother, didn't do. I guess he figured God would take care of everything. God didn't take care of anything, so we had a whole big mess. Do your advance directives and so forth. It's easy to do, and so you get it done. Have you ever noticed how we try to sugarcoat death? He's gone to greener pastures. Well, in my case, he's gone to greener cactus. Or pushing daisies. I would be pushing dandelions and weeds. Oh, here in Alaska, and weed. He's gone to be with the Lord. My family's pretty sure I'm not in that category. But yeah, also we try to sugarcoat on the way to death. I mean, we used to send Grandma to the old folks' home. Remember that? No more. People might feel like they're getting old. Well, we are, and we should take advantage of it and enjoy it. So they changed it to the senior center. After a couple decades, well, that might make people feel old going to the senior center. So now they have the Dare County Older Adult Center. By the time they send me away, they'll send me to the Older Toddler Center. I'll toddle in, and I'll toddle back out. When they get my body after I'm gone, they're going to take out anything that is usable, which would be nothing up here, I'm sure. Give it to science, and take what's left, and it's going to go to the University of Tennessee Barney's farm for research. I think that's kind of cool. But they're not going to get me very soon. On my 100th birthday, I want to still be in the game. Although with Alzheimer's, I'm sure I won't know what game. I have no idea what the score is. But you can bet I'll still be on the bottom with the Cleveland Browns. Oh, in Cleveland, I had to change that to the Redskins. I saw an old guy. I declare, well, I was in the produce department, and I picked some bananas and set them aside, and up comes old Oscar. And I need to explain to you older people, that is a grouchy star, TV star. No, it's not Mel Gibson. This one's blue. And well, at my age, it's always a banana in the pocket. I said, I hope you find some good ones, but you can't have these, they're mine. Don't want them. Do you like to laugh? No. Do you like stand-up comedy? No. And I think his name was Oscar because he was behind me on the way out, and when I left at the checkout, he said, good riddance. But you can't blame him. Maybe he had reasons. Maybe he just lost his wife and forgot where. Or worse yet, maybe he remembered where. Or maybe he forgot to pull out.
Oh.
Is Hawken here? He's still trying to figure out how to get in the first place. Or maybe he was a Jehovah's Witness. I know I didn't offend anybody because they don't like to come places like that. They don't like to laugh. I try to be fit, try to eat right. I got a hold of some string beans that were so stringy by the time I finished eating them, I'd already flossed my teeth. I don't know what this hip movement has to do with it.
Kristen laughed.
You guys are great. I could just sort of hang up the microphone and leave, and you guys would have fun the whole rest of the night.
Fill in the blanks.
Have you ever noticed the guys at the gym? I don't take supplements like creatine. Have you ever noticed the guys at the gym who do have those great big muscles? Well, they've got little tiny thumbs. Oh, this is an adult crowd. They also have little tiny dicks. Well, I have little tiny muscles. I was waiting for you to break out. A great big microphone. I stopped by Fred Meyer. I never park close to the door. That way I can stir my tired blood as I run in for a few things. Running back to my car, a kid said, "Hey, Grandpa, how come you're running so fast?" "Well, you would be too, son, if you've been shoplifting." String beans. I also stopped by a gym, although they're closed. This must have been in Ohio where the gyms are open. I also stopped by a gym, and I've had to quit the big weight. I've had to avoid the big weights, like 2 hours to DMV. And I had to quit doing bench presses because they bolted them all down. I can tell, sure, you haven't pressed any benches. And I had a terrible time getting the 45-pound dumbbells home. You know, the free weights? Put one of those in my gym bag and I'd be so unbalanced. My ex would say, "Lou, you've always been unbalanced." So I thought about putting one in each hand, but wouldn't it look suspicious leaving the gym with 2 gym bags? And I couldn't run. There in the room where all the machines were, I recognized those machines from when I was a kid during the Spanish Inquisition. Now see, you're into history. You know that was 650 years ago. You can explain that to some of these people after the show. Well, if I was interested in agony, I'd say, "I'm going to go down the dungeon and visit the Inquisitor." You can say, "Well, you do strange things. I'm going to go down the street and visit my chiropractor or my personal trainer." The Inquisitors would put bodies in impossible positions. Well, we call it Inquisition. You call it torture or yoga. Have you ever noticed the pictures back then? The naked subject stretched out on the rack always had a little white towel covering just the right spot. I was the towel boy. Hey, don't put him on the rack yet. Don't stretch him out. I've got the towel here. Let's hear it by applause if you want me to do it.
No.
Well, all right, well, he needs some help anyway. He can't help himself, his arms are all stretched out. I was at his high point. Absolute high point of the day. And she's going to leave on that one.
Both the girls did.
Oh, I forgot he was black. And you probably wonder what kind of guy would tell a joke like that. Well, let me introduce myself a little bit. My name's Lewis, and about 30 years ago, I got confused with another guy who went by Lou, and I went by Lou. And he was really good with the ladies. And there's a reason that's plural. And he didn't want me to get credit for all of his efforts. So he said, since you're the only guy from Arizona, I'm going to call you Arizona Lou. And the name stuck. And in 1912, before Arizona became a state, I went by Territory Lou. And before that, Caveman Lou. These keep coming. And they get worse.
I would assume so.
Before that, Ditch Lou. Told you they'd get worse. It was just a little ditch, and then it grew and grew. Then Grand Canyon Lou. And before that, Jurassic Lou. Now some of you are going to think I'm from ancient history. I always had trouble with history. Probably started in junior high. I remember it well. In social studies, I was always distracted by an out-of-control boner. All right, I need to explain to you modern people, it was my own. Didn't help that the fashion in those days was tight blue jeans. I looked around to see if anybody noticed. Yes, Miss Perkins, the answer is wood. Row. Now, Louis, you know that's not right. Longfellow. Now, Louis, you're going to have to pay Miss more attention. But Miss Perkins, you don't know how hard it is. Do you see what I see? Some things are so disgusting and vile in our society. I think one way to deal with it is to laugh at it. And some of you may have heard, if you've been to my website, that I drive a white minivan. That's my home away from home on my comedy road tours. I don't want you to believe everything you hear about an old guy in a white minivan. Because that's me. I don't have a puppy. Because I haven't lost one. But with today's technology, I could get lots of kids. Hey, I've got free Wi-Fi, unlimited data, no throttling, and privacy windows. Oh, I see you broke your screen. I can fix it, but you'll have to get in line. I could get so many kids, I'd have to beat them off. I'm not even a priest. Man, these are jokes.
How did you get through Canada?
That's a long story. But it worked. I don't know how I'm going to leave this world, but when I do, I'm going to be going as fast as I can. Having fun. Hey, you'd walk this way too if you lost your balls. I want my obituary to read something like, Arizona Lou died in an avalanche of boxes. Well, let's hereby applause if you can drive a stick shift. Was that an applause? Okay. All right, I will accept it. I'm not talking about a boner. Although some guys call it their hot rod. But while we're on the subject, I volunteered for a clinical study of Viagra at in Virginia at the University of Longwood. Helping out with science gave me a really good feeling. I expected it to be a lot harder though. It was one of those double-blind studies. Even the researchers didn't know who was coming. They put us in hospital gowns and we looked like Tent City. Except me, I was the only one without a rigid tent pole. Imagine propping your tent up with one of those things you get from Dollar Tree, a fun noodle. It wasn't fun. It was not, well, it was disgusting. And we were bored stiff. Well, in my case, I was just bored. And we played Monopoly until one of the guys knocked all the pieces off the board. And Happy Sack made us real testy. Target practice was a disaster. Our version of tag was Pokemon. Go! I hated it. I didn't have a good poker. They hated my favorite, Twister. We appreciated it when they gave us a shake break. They also gave us homework. One of the guys said, "Hey Doc, can we help each other out?" "Well, let me look." Says it has to be hands-on, self-service, no double headers. Do I need to explain that to you? That's when I learned with that homework that you don't need special expensive stuff. If you go to Dollar Tree and get their hairstyling gel. If I'd been Catholic after each session, I need confession. And the priest would give me a dishonorable discharge. Well, during the study, at my age, I couldn't keep up. Couldn't keep my eye on the ball. Make that plural. One of the doctors said I was all nuts. He accused me of being a swinger. Well, you gotta ventilate him, you know. So they told me to just beat it. And I quit the study without giving them any bona fide data. So that's the way that went. Ooh, I've got something in my hand. It's about 6 inches long. I don't believe it. It's hard. It's what's inside it that gives it its functionality. It's red on the tip. I can spin it around. I've got something in my hand, which you probably imagine.
Yeah, pen.
I can spin it around.
He's been there.
I'm so talented I can hold it at the same time I blow it. I might even let some of you blow it.
Come back.
This isn't dirty, it's clean. I washed it today. Lots. Let's hear it by applause if you want me to pull it out of my pants right now.
Oh, yeah, why not?
And let's hear it by applause if you don't want to see it.
This one.
What if you're in the middle?
Whip it out.
You're curious, but we don't know yet.
You didn't applaud either time. I know it's a tough decision. Well, on 3, hide your eyes. 1, 2, 3. No, you're peeking. Well, this is an anemometer. The spinning magnets register the wind on your cell phone, good for kiteboarding, sailing, stand-up comedy.
And you can blow it all you want.
Yes, and see after show, I'll let you blow it too. And hey, you people have been a whole lot of fun. You're great. I enjoyed being here. This is my second performance here in Alaska, my first in Wasilla, and I really appreciate you coming and laughing and supporting my comedy. Do check over there at the stuff. And you don't have to buy anything, just look at it and see what, like, guess I'm going to pick up one of those cards about the charity that gets the profit from it. But I had voice surgery, and sometimes my voice goes up high. I sound worse than Jay Leno. It's really embarrassing on the telephone. Say, hello. May I please speak to the man of the house? I am the man. Or worse yet, are your parents home? No, sorry, hello? Are your parents home? Yes. I put them up on the mantle. They told me in life to earn everything. Well, as a guy from Phoenix, there's a couple strange things up there, a couple weird things. One is, it's still light outside, and the other is, I'm still alive. Thank you very much.